As it turns out, I do have another choice. I'm not a religious person. I won't identify myself as such. Or rather, I can't. Sure, my grandparents didn't have to force me to go weekly. I'd happily join them. In fact, most of my childhood Sundays have been spent attending service. It's simply that, as you get older, the more experience you get forming your own beliefs on things becomes easier, for the lack of better words. And at one point, it just stopped. That kind of thing. Nevertheless, I hold no disdain for it. Sometimes it does help. When things are really, really bad. When the dreams won't stay where they should be. Talking does. A bit. It's also a good thing Father Norman's, well, he's not completely the pious man you'd typically expect. When unlikely friendships only probably happen because he's the kind of guy who's cool with the young ones, as he so aptly puts. And he is, surprisingly. It makes him easy to approach. Maybe he has something to say about the photos as well. It won't hurt since I've already gone ahead and went to Anslem. At daybreak, on my bike. At the very least, I know I won't get shouted at by whoever answers the door.
Unless someone does that inside a church. I highly doubt it.
Despite its age, the Luxborn Church is a thing of wonder in itself, with its high vaulted ceilings and intricate stained glass windows. One of the many gifts the Ermengarde family donated to the community in its earliest days. Or so I heard from Rebecca. She mentioned this once, although most of it flew over my head then. At this time of day, the church is mostly empty, save for a few visitors and ushers shuffling about. Some mutters their prayers under their breath. The scene of burning candles and incense permeate the air, giving the place a general feeling of reverence. Pretty welcoming, all in all. Even so, I keep the noise my tread makes to a minimum. Disturbing the quiet feels like a sin alone. An usher points me to a pew in front of the altar when asked where Father Norman prays. He mentions something about a good priest not being in good health. Ever since he was asked by a couple to bless their new home before moving in. This is the first time in days he's left his room. No surprise there. With the weird heat lately, even Rebecca caught something. Nervous little chap, the kid. Nevertheless, he leads me close to the foot of the dais, with a reminder not to stay too long before walking off. Seconds later, Father shifts and stands. He doesn't seem to have noticed me, and I have to give him a little tap on the shoulder. When he looks, though, to say he's surprised is an understatement.
Stay away.
Here. His voice comes out of a whisper, almost inaudible in a hush, a quiet restraint and indifference to where we both are standing. But the tremor is there. He focuses on me with wide bulging eyes, copious amounts of sweat appearing in his forehead, despite the relevant coolness of the place.
Father Norman?
Alright.
Keep your distance.
Hey, it's me, Zach, remember?
Stay away, don't come near me.
It must be the fever talking, or whatever he caught. It has to be. I don't recall ever doing anything for him to drive me away like this. In all the years I've known him, he's been nothing but polite, nothing but accepting of people regardless of beliefs or status in life. For words akin to a threat to come out of him, it's simply beyond imaginable.
Go back to where you came from. Leave.
Father, what did I do?
Leave, now!
I extend a hand to his shoulder, meant to be reassuring, but he recoils, his ankle catching on the edge of the dais as he backs away. His shout when I attempt to reach out echoes through the entire hall, catching attention of a few people inside. I try to keep a level tone with these strangers' eyes trained on as panic starts to weave its way into
Stay away, demon! Go back to the hell you came from!
Rude.
Father, it's okay. I only came here for some pictures I thought looked odd. I figured you might know something.
From my pocket, I fish out the photos and try to hand it to him. Instead, he strikes my wrist away, almost like an accusation, and sends the photographs fluttering uselessly to the floor. Helpless, I can only watch as he curls into himself on the ground, a sad, blubbering mess whimpering to himself. He tips his head forward and begins rocking, his hands clapped over his ears.
That accursed spirit, so full of anger and pain. All those horrible things I've seen. I can't sleep. I can't eat everywhere I look.
Hey, look, hot dog.
Go away, go away. Go away. You're not supposed to be here. This is a house of God. Be gone, demon. Lord have mercy, God, our Lord, King of ages, all-powerful and almighty. You who made everything and transform everything simply by your will.
A number of people have moved closer, mostly just to gawk. Thankfully, as if to save him from being an utter spectacle, two ushers come out, taking him away. One of them, the kid from earlier, shoots me an apologetic look. I can't even return it to him. Anxiety is a powerful thing, a firm little notion that clings, eats, and consumes you. I can still hear his prayers even as they drag him away.
Keep at bay and vanquish every evil power, every poison or malice invoked against us by corrupt and envious people. Then under the protection of your authority may we sing in gratitude.
It rings, hums in me as I am left to pick up the pieces of this chaos. Back to square one we go. If there is salvation in this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. As promised, Miss Wright had my bike delivered back to my apartment. Found it parked in the rack downstairs with an invitation and a note tacked to it, in fact. Be there, it said. If only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her. About that thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of my bed, along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of headless women and the haunting smells of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me I haven't eaten anything since I left this morning, and an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain of our room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy, a place where we were once promised several springs ago. Yet, it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The wall is more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa... I can't hear Pa. Not above the ruckus clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks... Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, raw in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Hana's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. I got a feeling that one of the quit games are coming. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming on my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours while I force it back into the steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold has settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with a passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Winds. Tighter. And tighter. And tighter. And until it becomes too much, my heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings with it the iron tang of blood. Thick. Suffocating. Filling my nose with a foul-sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards and it slowly comes into view. Mouth stretched in a hideous smile and eyes brimming with nothing but madness. Hi, lady. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. From it, her. From the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. And suddenly the bed dips. Alright. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs, just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling it, a blanket, away. But I allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting out of bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. Bench at the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Luxborn, considering its location at the heart of the bustling city. But in the early hours of morning, it provides enough peace and quiet for my poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up, a little later than usual. But knowing what day it is, one can't fault it for being a little tardy just this once. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head, its claws digging deeper in what is no longer a safe place to hide in.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Take a key and lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. Take a key and lock him up, my fair lady. London
Done?
Bridge is falling down.
It used to be easy, finding some pretense of peace under the guise of sheer optimism following regular routine. Now, I don't know what to make of it. Sometimes it's easier to run, easier to hide when everything's falling apart. That way you don't have to be the first to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad with the movie, after all. It also worked when Mom and Pa were taken from us. Though the sentiment's a little hypocritical when you think about my little talk with Miss Wright the other day. But that's just how it is. Maybe it really is better if I just...
Hey, mister.
Hey, mister. The tiny voice gives me pause. When I look up, a little girl about 6 or 7 is peering at me. 2 wide eyes overflowing with what can only be the natural curiosity one typically sees in children. I vaguely note the St. Goretti uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
Well, you called me mister. She then flops down on the empty space beside me. Her little legs, still too short to touch the ground, swing in tune with a song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then Sis and I were both too old to play with them, but you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park and the one closest to the street where a kid is taking shots of something above him. It doesn't look to be birds because all there is on that side of the park are buildings.
I don't see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter.
Yes.
Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile has spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do, with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
Not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's giving my friends and I a lot of trouble. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
I highly doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're just scared, mister.
That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone or simple truth in the words itself. I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisure walk
Why are
nearby.
you laughing?
That's nothing.
Excuse me.
You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up on our next appointment after that. But he's right. Though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up in thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, but that doesn't mean I should just leave it up to
You better
fate.
get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I took that as a sign to leave. Got things to do, to face, the first few steps, they say.
I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
Give her a little pat on the head before heading off. A small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have helped. She may not understand it now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things, but maybe when she's older. When the world no longer seems too big
But
for her.
aren't you going to help me, mister?
With what?
Confused, I glance back. Whatever cheer our little talk brought has vanished under the shadows suddenly dancing in my eyes. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. This frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. And the
What do you
kid...
think, mister? Are you going to help me?
Leave us alone! What did we do to you?
The response never comes, however. Because when I blinked, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any signs of another change. But all that remains there is the carefree smile of a child. None of the spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple of passerbys as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. Going insane, that is what it is. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be.